Hey there YouTube world, Matt Schwartz, the Welding Geek here, and we are about to start probably the most requested build ever, the Mandalorian's rifle, or the Bam Phase Pulse Blaster Rifle, however you say it, rifle build. So if you want to see how I went about starting this build, it'll be the receiver from like here to like here, I don't know. Anyway, stay tuned to the video. Alright, and here we go. I'm going to go ahead and paste my templates down onto my big slab of aluminum here. And go ahead and center punch all my holes that are on my template. And then I will take it over to the drill press and drill out all these holes. So let's get that done. As you can see here, there are two parts here. You actually only need one. The original plan was to make two rifles, one to give away and one for me. And then when I got to about the end of this video, I realized this rifle was going to be too heavy for me to carry around at a con. So I ended up just making the one. This here is what you call a center drill. I'm going to go ahead and use it to get all my holes started. It just makes it easier for the drill bit to guide right on the center of your hole. So I'm going to go ahead and hit all, it's like a pre-drill hole, but not all the way through. Go ahead and do that to all the holes here. And then I'm going to put in my 1/4 inch holes, or actually my 1/2 inch holes first, which is just a clearance hole. And then some 1/4 inch holes, and then some 3/16 inch holes. All sorts of holes. Alright, we are at the bandsaw again. I'm going to go ahead and use my cutting wax and hit both edges of this blade. This will just make it easier to cut. And I'm going to go through and cut out both of these parts with the bandsaw. Now I'm going to go ahead and smooth out all the bandsaw blade lines here in this part. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and cut two strips. These will be my trigger guards. And I have the little printout here, and I'm just going to bend these to this radius here by hand. With a little bit of hammering and whatnot, we got the trigger guard all bent up. Next thing I got to do is weld it on. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and get the triggers made. This is pretty much almost the same process you just saw. I'm going to paste down my templates, center mark the holes, get them center drilled, drill them out, get it on the bandsaw, and then smooth it out. So let's go ahead and watch that here. Next up here we got the body parts. There's a bunch of different parts. You can see how they're labeled: first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and get these pasted down on the actual thicknesses of materials that I need them on, and then go ahead and get them just like you watched, center punched, drilled, and cut out with the bandsaw, smoothed out, and yeah. So let's get busy doing that. This is a little chamfering tool on the end of a drill. I'm just using this to go ahead and deburr all my holes real quickly here. Put a nice little chamfer in each hole. This makes it nice and smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and use my cutoff wheel and just put a slight slit on this line here, just a feature in the receiver itself. Hope you guys aren't getting sick of seeing the same thing over and over and over again. But this is what it takes. A lot of templates, a lot of parts in this receiver. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff cut out, bent up, holes put in it, all sorts of stuff. And like I said, there's 2 rifles here. At a certain point, it will get down to 1, but I'm gonna go ahead and get all that stuff done. With the shear, I can shear some of it I can. I'll have to take over to the bandsaw. So let's just sit back and relax and enjoy the music and watch the show. A little change of pace here. Got some machining to get done. These are going to be the little cylinders. It's hard to explain. They're kind of at the very beginning of the barrel. They have a bunch of little notches in. You'll definitely be able to tell what they are here in a second once I get them machined a little bit more. I'm just machining them out of some tubing. I think it's 1.5" by 1/4 wall tubing is the first part, and the other one's like 5/8 by 1/8 wall tubing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these turned out on the lathe here. Now that I've got that bit of machining done, I'm going to go ahead and use this press brake here and start bending up all the harder little tiny detail bends that are in these parts. So I'm going to go ahead and bend through these. There's a whole bunch of them. So let's go ahead and watch me do this. So here you can see how handy this press brake is. You have a lot of little bends going in different directions and whatnot, and you're able to get into tighter spaces with this one compared to the apron brake. So this thing is super handy to have. So I'm going to go ahead and dolly in some radiuses. This is the little part that he picks up to put the little shells into. I'm just going to go ahead and hammer in these radiuses on this little dolly here. And this little part here needs a little bit of dollying too. So I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing. Now it's time to start putting some stuff together with the welder. I'm going to go ahead and weld all these little bits together, and then I'm going to go ahead and metal finish them to get rid of the welds. These are the front, I don't even know what they call it. It's right where the barrel of the gun starts. So I'm going to go ahead and get these pieces put together. The machine pieces will go inside of these, and hopefully this will all make sense here in a minute. This is what I was trying to accomplish right here. Came out pretty good, pretty happy with it. Next up is the piece that sits right behind that. I don't even know what to call these things, but this is the little, yeah, I'm not even going to give it a name. I'm going to work on this thing here. It's on a 1/4-inch plate. I'm going to go ahead and get all these pieces tacked together and welded, and then dressed down to make it look like one piece. As you can see here, we've got a wee little bit of a gap here. Let's go ahead and just let's fill that in with some weld. Now just to be clear, I would never do this on a race car part. They would get thrown away and I'd start over, but hey, this is not going on a race car, so I filled it in. Now that I have all my welds on, it's time to dress them off, and the easiest way to do it on a part like this is on the belt sander. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this on the belt sander and clean all these welds off. I'm going to use my dressing wax first though. Remember your wax! Next step will be to kind of dress out some of these grinding lines, smooth it all out with the DA sander with some like 200 grit sandpaper, just to smooth it out a little bit. The next thing I gotta do here is put on this last little bottom plate. I'm gonna go ahead and get it welded on and dressed down and smoothed out just like you saw me do on the rest of it. Now it's time to start assembling this thing piece by piece. I'm going to go through, I have all these holes in the templates and all that stuff, and all these holes are made specifically so I can bolt each piece together in a certain order. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm also going to be using like a barrel nut and a countersunk Allen head screw to put all this stuff together. So I'm going to weld some of it, I'm going to bolt some of it together. I'm also going here in a minute going to use a countersink the holes for the screws, the flathead screws. So yeah, let's just get assembling this thing together. Now that I have this thing all bolted and kind of welded together, I'm going to go ahead and weld on this 1-inch tube that I turned down a little bit for the little front adapter plate thingies, whatever you want to call them. And I'm going to weld all these pieces together. Alright, I hope this makes things make a little more sense of what I'm trying to accomplish in the pieces that I've been working on. You can see it all kind of coming together here. Going to continue on here, putting this thing together piece by piece. This is the little back section area that kind of butts up against the hand stock. I'm going to go ahead and get this fit and welded and dressed, and then let's continue on taking all my parts and putting them together. What I'm showing here is where the little side accent piece hits, because I have to go in here and put a little bead of weld over the top and dress it down, because there's like this little ridge feature in the plate, and so it's the profile of this piece here. So now I'm going to go ahead and put a little bead of weld, dress it down to make it look like that little ridge, and hopefully it'll make sense here what I'm trying to explain in a minute. And this is the little ridge I was talking about. Came out pretty decently just for a bead of weld. Now I'm going to go ahead and weld these little plates in place. Alright, I got my little side pieces welded on. Probably get them dressed down. I'm also going to be adding a couple little other details, like this little rear hood here, and then little squares to go on. The stuff is so hard to explain. So yeah, I'm going to be putting some details in here. How about I just say that? Next up here, I've got some stainless steel tube, and I'm just going to try to bend around to make these little tube features that are behind that block piece there. So there's two of these stainless tubes, and then I'm going to put one bigger aluminum tube into place, and so that's what this next segment is going to be showing you guys. Alright, so up next here I'm going to use some what's called silicon bronze rod, and I'm going to go ahead and weld these little tubes together with the silicon bronze. And I'm not using stainless rod, because silicon bronze you're not actually melting the tubes. The tubes are really thin walls, so I'm using the silicon bronze because it melts at a lower temperature and it sticks pretty well, because it would be a big pain to try to take these things together with how thin the wall is. It just makes it a little easier. So yeah, I'm gonna silicon bronze these things together. Alright, next up, I've got these little center punch marks that I put in earlier. I'm going to go ahead and drill those out 1/8 of an inch, and then I'm just going to actually hammer in a rivet. They're not actually going to be squished, but I'm hoping the tension of the hole will hold those in permanently, because I'm going to undersize them slightly, so I have to use a little hammer and a press to kind of press them in, as you'll see here in a minute, and it'll just be friction fit. So there's all these little rivets and stuff on the gun, so I'm going to go ahead and put those in now. The last little detail I'm going to put on here is like the little bolt catch thing. There's 2 of these. Go ahead. I already got them cut out. I'm dressing them down nice, and then I'm just going to press fit these into place. So yeah, this will be the last little bit. So how I put the scope mount on will be in the next video, but this is it for this video. A lot of work right there for that little piece. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Alright, that is part 1. There'll be a part 2, part 3, part 4, I don't know how many. This could be a lot. I started this build back in July. And this is the whole thing. It will get painted. I'm going to finish the detailing on it. This is not perfect. I don't have every single detail on here, but like I said, I started this in July. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. And I am giving this away to one of my Patreon people in the $10 tier. So if you want to be part of that, head on over there. The link will be in the description, and sign on up. And after this whole build series is done, some lucky person is going to get this. I'm a little jealous. But when I got to the point of about where the end of this video was, I knew the rifle was going to be too heavy for me to comfortably carry at a convention. So I'll probably end up getting a 3D printed one where I could actually carry it and be comfortable, because I want to be in my costume as long as possible. So that means that one of my lucky Patreon people in that $10 tier are going to own this rifle. So that's pretty cool if you ask me. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that build video. The next one will probably be like the fork and the rest of them, and I don't know if I'm doing 3 or 4. I haven't edited through all of them yet. I just have the receiver one edited. So yeah, there may be details, and then there'll be a paint video as well, me going through how I'm gonna go about painting this. But anyway, I'll stop rambling on. Yeah, so that'll be the next couple of weeks. Will just be this rifle, and then as you can see here, I've got my Mando stand up. And I'm hoping I'm going to make the spear after the rifle here. That will be a quick build, but it'll be cool. I'm hoping to do it. I'm going to keep that a secret for right now. But I will be doing that spear hopefully soon. And then we'll see where we go from there. So, if you want to see the rest of this build, stay tuned. If you want to be part of if you want to have maybe a chance of winning this or getting this, head on over to Patreon. Help me support me over there so I can keep on doing what I'm doing. And yeah, a fun build. My name's Matt Schwartz, and thanks for staying tuned, guys. I am the Welding Geek. Stay tuned for more.